Tonight on CFTK-TV News, the Cops for Cancer Tour de North makes its stop in Terrace, a well-loved theatre is raising funds for a new roof, and the race is on for leadership of the BC Green Party.
Northwest BC's only television news team. We are CFTK-TV News.
Hello, and thanks for joining us on this Thursday, September 18th, 2025. I'm Jaylene Matthews. We'll begin tonight with our news that's local to the Northwest. There is no tsunami risk to the BC coast after an earthquake struck near Russia's Kamchatka Peninsula today. According to Emergency Info BC, the 7.8 magnitude quake struck 410 kilometers southwest of the Bering Island. The earthquake struck at 11:58 a.m. Pacific time at an estimated depth of 9.6 kilometers. The BC Ministry of Emergency Management says a tsunami advisory is in effect for the Aleutian Islands and Kamchatka Pass off Alaska's coast. This is the same location where an earthquake struck in July, sending tsunami waves into Japan, Hawaii, and the west coast of Canada and the U.S. And BC cops and emergency service providers have been crossing the Northwest over the past few days, raising funds for cancer research in the annual Cops for Cancer fundraiser. CFTK-TV's Kale Maslin met up with the riders at their stop in Terrace.
The Canadian Cancer Society is in the midst of running their annual Cops for Cancer Tour de North event, which is where police officers and other emergency service personnel go on a week-long cycling trip throughout northern BC.
We are riding this year, we're going from Prince George all the way to Prince Rupert. We're cycling the whole way, and we're raising money for Canadian Cancer Society, for research for pediatric cancers, and for sending kids to Camp Good Times.
Camp Good Times is a place where children who have been diagnosed with cancer can enjoy being a kid while still getting all of the medical attention they need, and their families can go with them as well. The trip these cyclists are on is about 850 kilometers long, and when they reached Terrace yesterday evening, they made it to their second to last stop before their final destination.
It's been great. We've had a lot of fun. We've been very welcomed in all the communities that we've been to so far. So we've had a lot of fun doing that. We've encountered some rough weather, some rain here and there, but we had some sunshine as well.
When the cyclists got to Terrace, they first stopped at Canadian Tire before making their way to United Rentals to fuel up at a barbecue after completing another leg of their journey. They're set to finally complete their tour sometime today when they finally make it to Prince Rupert. The ultimate goal for this tour in terms of fundraising is $250,000, and they have nearly reached that number, with their website most recently showing that they've raised a little over $234,150. The tour is set to go a mostly different route next year, as the cyclists will kick off their ride at Dawson Creek and conclude it at Williams Lake. For CFTK TV News, I'm Kale Maslin.
One of British Columbia's longest-running theatres, the McColl Playhouse in Terrace, is fundraising to cover a major repair. It's called the Raise the Roof campaign. CFTK-TV's Helen Asante reports.
The historic building's roof needs major work, and without it, the theatre says its future could be in jeopardy.
In December of 2022, I received a frantic series of text messages from our treasurer, Nancy Stone Archer, and then President Robin McLeod saying, hey, we've just received a phone call from one of our neighbors. Part of the roof of the McCall has blown off. And it was in a windstorm. It was miserable out. There was snow. It was really, really awful. And so Nancy and Robin came out, and they were actually up on the roof holding tarps, etc., trying to get enough of the roof repaired for us to kind of hobble along for another, well, here we are 2.5 years later. So we're still existing on the repairs that were done at that time, but we've known that we are on borrowed time with this roof. We're hoping to get the roof replaced sooner rather than later. So we've decided we need to be really hitting grant proposals and actively raising funds to get this roof done soon.
Through the Erase the Roof campaign, the Playhouse is calling on supporters to purchase memberships, a vital way to help fund both the roof replacement and ongoing maintenance.
But if we don't have active members, it looks like the club isn't as important to the community as maybe it is. So that's why buying a membership is super important. So if Terrace Little Theatre is important to you, and if what we do is important to you, on an individual level, one of the biggest things you can do for us is buy your membership. Yeah.
She adds they are also working on new initiatives to ensure the Playhouse remains a home for the arts for years to come.
We are now doing a building sustainability fund that we've just implemented for ourselves. So $1 off of every ticket that people buy when they come to see a show goes directly into our building sustainability fund. So we will be using that for doing any infrastructure or building upgrades.
For the community, the call to action is clear. This isn't just about fixing a roof, it's about preserving memories, culture, and a stage that has been bringing people together for decades. Helena Santos, CFTK-TV News, Terrace.
Coming up next, Green candidates duke it out for party leadership. A newly adapted method of building homes has begun in BC, and the construction style aims for better wildfire protection. CTV's Andrew Johnson reports.
Inside this home being built in Lumbee, BC, some of the sights and sounds of construction are what you'd expect, others not so much. The wood frame is being encased in what's being mixed outside, not concrete, hempcrete.
This first originated out of Europe. They've been building with hempcrete for generations.
Stuffed inside the extra thick walls of this place is something called hemp mash. It's a mixture of hemp, lime, and water.
It replaces drywall and insulation. On the outside of the house, a coating that acts as armor in the event of a wildfire.
As you can see, we're shooting a very hot flame at this.
He says the lime material can endure flames for more than 2 hours, part of a fire-resistant shell that also includes a metal roof and metal-clad windows.
When a wildfire happens to pass through this property, it has a very good chance of surviving.
The owner, Kathy Haslett, figures she's paying about a 15% premium over standard construction and thinks it's worth every penny.
What are you saving? You're saving a ton. If a fire comes through, it doesn't burn. You're not losing your home and everything in it.
The hempcrete also absorbs a significant amount of carbon and is expected to last 100 years. It's most commonly used in Europe. The designer of this home says the biggest obstacle in Canada is awareness.
If people don't know that it's an option, they can't choose it. What I love about it so much is that it's a material that is healthy for both people and planet.
Kathy's hoping to move into this place before Christmas, and the builders hope this is just the beginning of big demand for hempcrete in a region where the threat of wildfires is a yearly reality. Andrew Johnson, CTV News, Lumbee, BC.
The race is on for leadership of the BC Green Party, and as Rob Buffum reports, competition is tight.
Yeah, my name's Adam.
In 1 week, one of these candidates will be crowned leader of the BC Green Party.
I'm running to be the next leader of our party.
Emily Lowen is one of the 3 contenders. The former UVic student and climate justice activist has garnered high-profile endorsements, including from David Suzuki. She wants to see the party take a bolder stance on environmental and Indigenous rights, and would push to renegotiate its deal, propping up the NDP sooner than scheduled.
Just seen a flooding of young people, workers, renters, Indigenous peoples across the province who are fed up with the status quo and are just ravenous for change.
Jonathan Kerr, a father of 2, is a family doctor, a 2-term municipal councillor for a Green Party in Comox, and a regional director. His political priorities: bread and butter kitchen table issues.
Cost of living, housing, healthcare, and of course, as Greens, we care about the environment. So those are really the top 4 issues that I'm focused on.
And Adam Bremner Akins is a political science student at SFU. He's run twice for the Greens as an MLA, coming third last time. He calls himself a progressive, but sees himself as the middle of the pack ideologically. He wants to maintain the path for the Greens charted by Sonia Furstenau.
I felt that I needed to step forward and sort of fight for my future, and really fight for a province that I can live in and stay in, because at the time it doesn't feel like I'm going to be able to have a life here. It's too expensive.
The leadership contest has been clouded by controversy over membership verifications. Lowen pushing back on a process she worries was too cumbersome and would suppress the vote. Her opponents say all leaders agreed upon it in advance. She's retained a lawyer, but says she's optimistic changes to the process will allow it to play out okay in the remaining week.
Some promising improvements on behalf of the party.
Whoever prevails next Wednesday will make a speech in Victoria the following day at the UBCM meeting, setting out the party's vision as its new leader.
Turning to the weather, on the cusp of autumn, there's been lots of clouds and overcast skies this week in the northwest. This shot is from today, our camera at the top of our tower on Thornhill Mountain. Fall officially begins on Sunday, and you may have noticed the days getting shorter. The sun rose at 7:12 a.m. this morning in the northwest and sets at 7:43 p.m. tonight, giving us 12 hours and 28 minutes of daylight. Tonight on the north coast, expect conditions to be cloudy. Rain beginning this evening, winds from the southeast at 20 kilometers an hour, except 40 over exposed coastal sections, a low of 12 degrees. Over the next few days on the north coast, expect the rain to stick around right through the weekend. Daily highs from 13 to 15 degrees, overnight lows between 9 and 14 degrees. Tonight in the Terrace-Kitimat area, expect it to be cloudy this evening. Showers beginning overnight, winds from the south at 20 kilometers an hour, becoming light this evening, a low of 11 degrees. Over the next few days in the Terrace-Kitimat area, showers and rain are in the forecast. Daily highs 10 to 14 degrees. Tonight in the Bulkley Valley and Lakes District, it's looking clear. Increasing cloudiness after midnight, fog patches developing overnight, a low of +1. Over the next few days in the Bulkley Valley and Lakes District, expect the clouds to come in and showers and rain through the weekend. Daily highs 12 to 16 degrees, overnight lows from 3 to 12 degrees. Checking your highways around the northwest now. On Highway 16, there's construction in Prince Rupert with the detour in effect. Also ditching, bridge maintenance, road maintenance, utility work, construction work, and paving operations underway. On Highway 37, watch for construction work, bridge construction, and ditching. On Highway 37A, there's bridge maintenance as well as a section with falling rocks. And on the Niska Highway, there's mowing going on. And this is what the roads were looking like this afternoon around the region from the view of the province's highway cams. Still to come, a Canadian cold case finally solved. Genetic testing has given Montreal police the break they needed to solve a 17-year-old cold case. For years, there was nothing to link a career criminal to a 26-year-old woman whose remains were found in a burned-out apartment. CTV's Quebec Bureau Chief Geneviève Beauchemin on what led police to their man.
The unsolved murder of Catherine Daviau in 2008 was one of Quebec's highest-profile cold cases, frustrating investigators for nearly 2 decades, until now.
The murderer was Jacques Bolduc.
Bolduc was a career criminal with a long record of car thefts, attempted murders, who died in prison 4 years ago. He was a stranger to Daviau and was never a suspect until the forensic lab got a hit using genetic genealogy, matching DNA found at the scene to a sample from a distant relative in a public bank.
The interesting match that we got for this case was in fall 2024,
We did the genealogy, our genealogist did the research, and then we were able to provide the investigators with a name.
Investigators then used that lead to piece together what happened. Here's what they now know. Devio had placed an ad online to sell her car. Her murderer, Bolduc, was on parole at the time. He answered the ad. That's the link. And on December 11th, 2008, he killed her, then set fire to her apartment and fled. Neighbors called 911 to report smoke, and first responders found her body and no sign of forced entry. Devio's family once said she was loved by all. Investigators told them today the case is now closed.
It was a big day for the investigator and the family.
Investigators here in Montreal say they've used these techniques to solve cold cases, but they intend to use them in current cases too. Geneviève Beauchemin, CTV News, Montreal.
The Vancouver Canucks are gearing up for another season, and CTV's Ben Milger has the latest on trades and training camp.
A dispiriting effort. In a season of turmoil, the Vancouver Canucks came out on the losing end too often to make the playoffs last spring.
We'll say the obvious, that we're happy that the book's been closed on last year.
At training camp, new head coach Adam Foote will be looking for speed and physicality.
You can do everything you do in the summer, but getting physical, getting into bodies, chipping the body, revving the pace up to that NHL pace consistently. We'll be doing.
The team hopes forward Elias Pettersson, who struggled through the worst year of his career, can return to form. The $11.6 million man apparently trained hard this summer.
We also know he didn't a year ago. And success comes with preparation, and I believe all of our players, and especially Petey, has worked very hard this summer. So now the test starts tomorrow.
Captain and franchise cornerstone Quinn Hughes has just 2 years left on his contract. Anxious fans and pundits are already wondering if he's committed to the team long term. Both his brothers play in New Jersey.
You can spin this thing 100 different ways, and there's only one guy that's going to make that decision, and he'll make it for whatever reason.
The Canucks' best hope for convincing Hughes to stay in Vancouver is to ice a team that can compete for the Stanley Cup. The only significant addition this offseason was winger Evander Kane. It's no secret the Canucks are shopping for center depth, a hot commodity in the NHL.
There's been a lot of conversations, but unfortunately up to this point, not much have transparent into deals.
The Canucks will only have a few days together on the ice in Penticton before heading to Seattle to take on the Kraken in their first preseason game on Sunday. Ben Milger, CTV News, Vancouver.
Turning to the markets now, Canada's main stock index closed more than 130 points higher, helped by strength in the technology sector, while U.S. markets also rose. The Canadian dollar dropped almost 0.2 cents. The price of gold fell $39.50. Oil dropped 44 cents. Natural gas was down 14 cents. Aluminum fell $46. In Toronto, the TSX rose almost 132 points. The Venture Index rose by 4. In New York, the Nasdaq gained 209 points and the Dow Jones gained 124 points. Still ahead, the sudden suspension of Jimmy Kimmel. Disney and ABC pulled late-night host Jimmy Kimmel from the air overnight, hours after a threat to the network from the head of the Federal Communications Commissions, appointed by U.S. President Donald Trump. The move has drawn a sharply polarized reaction. ABC's Elizabeth Schultz has the latest.
Overnight, ABC pulling late-night talk show host Jimmy Kimmel off the air, hours after a threat from the head of the Federal Communications Commission. Brendan Carr called for Kimmel's suspension over comments earlier this week on Jimmy Kimmel Live about conservative influencer Charlie Kirk's death.
We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it.
Carr criticizing the host and the network, saying this Wednesday afternoon on conservative commentator Benny Johnson's podcast.
And they have a license granted by us at the FCC, and that comes with it an obligation to operate in the public interest. And we can get into some ways that we've been trying to reinvigorate the public interest and some changes that we've seen. But frankly, when you see stuff like this, I mean, look, we can do this the easy way or the hard way. These companies can find ways to change conduct, to take action, frankly, on Kimmel, or, there's going to be additional work for the FCC ahead.
Nexstar and Sinclair, two of the largest owners of network affiliates, said they would preempt Jimmy Kimmel Live. ABC pulling the plug. A spokesperson for the network saying Jimmy Kimmel Live will be preempted indefinitely. President Trump weighing in, calling the decision great news for America. Turning his attention to late-night hosts Jimmy Fallon and Seth Meyers on NBC. The president writing, that leaves Jimmy and Seth, adding, do it, NBC. An immediate response from leading Democrats, from Senator Chuck Schumer to California Governor Gavin Newsom. Firing commentators, canceling shows, these aren't coincidences. It's coordinated, and it's dangerous. Unions representing entertainment professionals and writers have condemned the decision.
Another season of The Amazing Race has wrapped up, and this finale saw a pair of British Columbians take home the top prize. CTV's Shannon Patterson reports.
This was the moment Vancouverites Jesse Herring and Jonathan Braun were dreaming of when they were chosen to compete in Season 11 of The Amazing Race Canada.
You run this incredibly tough race, there's so many strong competitors, and you hit that mat and you realize that you not only finished the race, but finished in first. It's wild.
Braun is a lawyer and Amazing Race superfan who met Herring, who works in HR, at the gym.
We're just having a silly little conversation at the gym, and I mentioned how fun it would be to do it together, and he was just such an enthusiastic yes.
The friends were dominant early on in the race, which put a target on their back.
The other team started coming for us hard, but honestly, that made us want to succeed even more.
Along the way, they got to visit far-flung parts of Canada they would never have seen otherwise.
We got to go to the Arctic Ocean. That is so cool.
After the finale taped in May, Jesse and Jonathan had to keep their win a secret from family and friends.
If we ruined the surprise on them, then we wouldn't have been able to see their joy and their genuine shocked reactions and stuff.
In winning Season 11, the friends made Amazing Race Canada history.
We're the first BC team to win the Amazing Race Canada, and it was cool that in second place we have Grace, who also lives in Vancouver, and her brother lives in Prince George. So BC rocked the game.
The pair is also proud to take home the prize for Vancouver's LGBTQ+ community.
Gain the chance to show that you can be this unabashedly queer, happy, flamboyant person, but that's actually not a weakness, that's a superpower.
As winners, they took home $250,000, new vehicles, and a trip around the world.
I'm going to use the vehicle to drive up to Whistler and Squamish Lot. That's amazing.
Herring has memorialized their time on the show with a tattoo of their Amazing Race promo photo.
Jonathan is just one of the most amazing people in the world. I knew I wanted to have this captured, to walk out of this experience with a best friend and even a deeper connection. We're so lucky.
Shannon Patterson, CTV News, Vancouver.
That's our news for now. We'll be back tomorrow. In the meantime, for more local news, you can visit us at CFTK-TV.com. We're also on YouTube and TikTok. Thanks for watching.